skip it. See it or skip it. See it or skip it.
Welcome to a new See It or Skip It, where we're going to be talking about the new Ryan Coogler film Sinners, The Wedding Banquet with Bo and Yang, plus The Last of Us Season 2. We, of course, have interviews as always, and I'm joined by, the three amigos here. We got Rebecca Frost and Richard Bonaducci. How's it going?
The gang's all here.
That's right.
And we're keeping this as the three group for as long as we can, because I had so much fun last week.
I did
going
too.
over.
Even when I yelled at you that one time?
Oh, see, well, I like it. It's a callback. We got
He
callbacks
likes being
now.
yelled
We have
at.
connected
All right.
threads to stuff.
Get ready.
Those two people that watch this every week really are like,
yeah,
man,
they
they've
liked
got
it.
a whole saga going
Yeah,
here.
they
Are
like
you guys prepared to talk about Minecraft for a third time?
Well, it is going to come up somehow in conversation, especially.
I could throw things.
I brought a chicken.
I brought a chicken. Yep. Well, we'll deal with the chicken later.
Okay.
First, let's talk about Sinners. Michael B. Jordan playing two characters, twins, that buy this juke joint, a shed that they want to turn into this really fun, extravagant party dance place where they can make a little bit of money and also kind of bring the community together. They find this musician that is playing the guitar incredibly well. His father is a pastor and is warning him about the devil's music. And with that being said, it kind of delves into a little bit of devilishness and debauchery as vampires are wanting to knock on the door and enter into this juke joint and knock everybody out. And yeah, it's terrifying, but it's amazing.
It's overall like a really simple concept. Brothers, set up a juke joint, vampires show up, chaos ensues.
Like they do.
Super simple story, but executed so well. It is, to me, it felt so purposefully chaotic and just a delight visually and audibly. Like the music was so enticing.
So the score by Ludwig Göransson, he did Oppenheimer last year. If you love The Mandalorian, he did the theme for that. Did the Creed films. He's worked a lot with Ryan Coogler, much like Michael B. Jordan has. I think this already is up for nomination for Best Score, and I hope it wins this year because I don't think anything is going to top it. Specifically, and we won't go into too much spoilers, but there's a sequence where they basically, have you seen that YouTube video that's like the evolution of dance and it goes through the decades? They kind of do their own rendition of that, but it's done so well and done with the IMAX screen, that 70 millimeter. You guys didn't see it in IMAX, right?
No, I saw it in a regular.
Ah, man, normies. Just like a bunch of normies. The 70 millimeter was great for those moments. It really did feel like a Nolan-esque moment whenever it would cut to that large format. But Richard, what did you think of this?
I agree. First of all, the music was awesome. I remember writing my notes, I'll get this soundtrack. I'm kind of wondering what you would think. They give a little bit away in the trailer, like you kind of know something's coming. If they hadn't done that, would you have gone, whoa, where did this come from? Or was it a buildup?
Well, if you, pay attention to movie news, they did announce that, Ryan Coogler making a vampire movie with Michael B. Jordan. So I feel like already kind of knew what was coming. But if you watched the first trailer didn't give anything away.
Right.
It was the second trailer that gave away the premise. And I really want to reinforce, maybe start skipping trailers because going into this blind, and especially with how long it took to get to that setup.
Agreed.
Because they spent a lot of time setting up the setting, the characters, the relationships.
Which is important later.
Which is so important.
Especially later when they're put into this dire situation. You want to know why and how they're dealing with it.
And how the twins are related to each character, because there's two different relationships that are explored in this that I think are fascinating. Haley Steinfeld plays one of the characters and has one of the most memorable lines of the whole movie. it floored me, especially since someone that watched the somebody that saw her in The Edge of 17 was like, hold on there.
I don't remember this memorable line. What was it?
Oh, well,
I'll go see it again.
That would be the big spoiler, and also weirdly the selling point for some of them.
Some people. But yeah, when I saw that second trailer, my first thought was, oh, a Black from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that, but it's done so much better. Sorry,
And you know
Tarantino
what?
folks.
It is okay to admit you like musicals because this movie is absolutely musical, and I think it's okay to admit that.
Sure.
And it's a musical that brings in multiple genres. We're not just talking about blues. We're bringing Irish jigs in suddenly. We're having, like we said, a huge montage of different genres through time, past, present, and future that is just so much of a celebration of music and the ancestral roots of music, especially with Black culture. I think this was incredible. Michael B. Jordan playing both characters.
And by
Michael
the way-
A. Jordan, yeah.
And the way they do
Michael
that
A.
is
Jordan.
really good. The way
Very
it's done.
good.
There's probably going to be like a 20-minute making of just on that on the home release. of
Well,
how
have
they
you
did
have you
it.
watched Ryan Coogler's interview with Kodak about
No.
how the movie was made?
We're gonna throw up some screenshots of just the format so that people know exactly what 70 millimeter looks like. But
And
yeah.
this is one you should see in the theater if you can in IMAX.
With a crowd too.
Yeah, especially because even but like as you were saying, at least the first hour is a lot of build-up, but it's beautiful. Cinematography's great, and then when the sun goes down and all hell literally breaks loose, you want to see it well.
Right. And I think Ryan Coogler is probably one of the greatest directors of our time right now. Every film he's done has been a hit in my book.
Fruitville.
Fruitville, Creed,
I'm with Michael B.
Wakanda
Jordan.
Forever, Black Panther.
Yeah, Creed
endless
and all
amounts
that
of
stuff.
great work.
But I will say that, as we said, give it some time. You know, I mean,
So the first half
allow
is
it
building.
to develop. Yes, allow it to develop. But there is a payoff, and stick around because he did some Marvel movies and he learned his lessons. He's got a mid and an end credit scene.
Patrick.
I will admit.
Everybody saw that, right? Everybody knew that there was an end credit scene and definitely stayed for all of them. I'm not the only
I
one.
will
that
admit
did
the
that.
end credit scene isn't like necessary,
Necessary.
but the mid one is.
Is.
You have not seen that movie if you hadn't seen the mid credit scene, in my
Yep.
opinion.
And
It's
we all
not-
three did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But
no
and
one
it's not
did
a little one. It's not a little flat. It's
It was
like an
long.
extended sequence.
Right.
It's necessary. So stick around for. If you're gonna go see it, stick around for it all.
But lessons learned. Make sure that you stick for credits. And that there's also like you want to watch the people that have made the movie, see the names of the people that worked on it.
Yeah.
And
All
it's,
4
it's a
million of
courtesy,
them.
and it's something I did not do for this. And you know what? Next time a Marvel director puts out a non-Marvel film, I'm gonna be wary that they're probably gonna have more to come after the credits.
Yeah, I was telling Patrick, I have one pretentious opinion, and it is that you should sit through the credits of every movie out of respect for all the people who worked on it. Like I said, that is my one pretentious opinion out of
I sit through them.
many.
What if that was
I
the
sit
only
through
thing
them.
that the Minecraft fans did that was really reverent? Like
They
just
sat in
said,
silence.
There's
all
your
of the
reference to
digital
Minecraft.
artists.
I did it.
Yeah.
Chicken. Quiet.
I sit to interpret the notes that I've written in the dark. And then when I'm like, what was that supposed to mean? And I use the credits to do that.
Well, real quick, before we wrap this up, let's talk about the vampire design of these. So they're really doing a lot with the eyes, more so than I think they've done with other vampires. These eyes are like, they're both clear, like misty-eyed, but
hazy.
also have a redness to them. I loved the work that and attention to detail that went into making these unique. Like this isn't Nosferatu. We're not talking about like a Bram Stoker Dracula. These are kind of like, I don't know, just
Although
random.
sometimes sounds like Nosferatu. There's a lot of
Yes.
going on, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Did you
man,
guys
some of
watch
these-
Midnight Mass?
Yes. Loved Midnight Mass.
Gotta watch Midnight Mass.
On Netflix.
The eyes very Mike Flanagan, if you like Mike Flanagan. But the eyes were very reminiscent of the eyes in Midnight Mass.
So obviously this is a skip it from all of us. Make sure that
Yeah.
yeah. See it, right? It's amazing.
Obviously.
Biggest screen possible.
and see it in a theater.
With
Don't
the
wait.
crowd. I
Yeah.
love seeing a movie with
It's
a
a
crowd.
good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, talk to us a little bit about this wedding banquet.
Well, The Wedding Banquet is actually a remake of an Ang Lee film, by the way, from 1993, of the same name, by the way. And it is an update. I don't know if it necessarily had to be updated because the plot is pretty much the same. There is a gay couple who live with another couple, and the mother is disapproving and doesn't know that her son is gay, etc. And so, to convince everyone of their straightness and get the mother to approve of them, they kind of have a fake wedding to another couple, and it's and hilarity ensues. But I will say, I think it's more, when we say it's maybe a dramedy, I think it's almost more of a drama than comedy. Like, it was
Sure.
funny, but not like a laugh-a-minute hilarious thing, but it was funny.
It was funny in the way that The Office is funny, in that it was very stressful and
yeah.
and
That's a good one.
cringe-worthy, complimentary.
Yeah.
Like I was very stressed while watching the movie just because of the choices that these characters are
Yeah,
making.
a lot of bad choices,
Lot of
but
bad
it
choices.
works for the movie. And there's a core of obviously 4 people, 2 couples, and they're all great. Not a lot of them are household names. You might recognize some of them from SNL, etc., and go, hey, I know this guy.
You're
But-
telling me Lily Gladstone isn't a household name?
But
Bowen Yang at this point is a household name.
Bowen
too.
Yang is Anne
Especially
Lily
with Wicked.
Gladstone of Killers of the Flower Moon, for instance. And there are also, though, a lot of side characters that you want to see more of. Everyone is well written. Even the people who are just supporting, it's good stuff all around. But of course, it is a character-driven thing. So I would see it personally. I don't know if it's necessary for a theater.
You know, for this,
You know what I mean?
this movie, it didn't really seep into my DNA and make me go, this is one that everybody should be checking out. And a lot of it came from, this isn't necessarily as funny as I was hoping it would be. More of the drama aspects just kind of took me out of it, and I didn't feel super invested with the characters because it was just so wild and crazy what they were doing that it's just, to me, it was like, all right, this feels kind of like a 90 Day Fiancé adventure. We're just doing all kinds of different stuff, which should be right up my alley. But
There is a lot there.
I'd agree. I don't think this is necessarily one that you should run out to the theaters to see. It did debut at Sundance. Is that where you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it the last day at Sundance, and the director actually stuck around because I saw it in Salt Lake on the last day. And typically by then, directors, actors, producers have gone home, but he stuck around and he came by and did a Q&A after the movie, and just a lot of passion and love went into this movie, and I like to see that from the
Andrew
director.
On, right? On.
Yeah, who also did Fire Island.
Oh, okay. Didn't
Yeah.
realize.
Well, support local films. It's at the Broadway theaters right now and at the Century 16 in Salt Lake. It feels like all the independent films are always put to those specific theaters, and they never really show up at a megaplex or anything else. So hopefully they do get more screens for it, because of course we want to make sure that this is successful as much as it can be. But
Well, I don't know.
maybe just for
Sounds like a
streaming.
skip it from you.
It's a skip it for me, but it might not be for others.
I mean, see it, but I think it's okay to wait till it's at home.
Yeah, there's a wait for it in this.
There was a smaller aspect to it. Although at Broadway it was nice. I saw it at Broadway, and that's nice, kind of a smaller theater. So I don't know. See it for sure.
Very cool. Well, with that said, let's do a little bit of a recap about Daredevil Born Again Season 1.
Let's.
Well, we've been following this from the beginning. We got the early advanced screenings, and now that it's over and everybody is caught up, what do you think of this season? Was it kind of a mess? Did it land for you by the end of it?
So what I don't like is how they approached marketing it before the season came out. They approached it from a standpoint of, Foggy and Karen are back, isn't that fun? And then they are there for one episode.
I was going to say for a little bit.
And also another thing that I noticed was at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were complaining about Kingpin and saying, oh, I don't like this weak, thin Kingpin. I wish we had ambitious Kingpin back. And the whole time, having seen the whole season, I was like, just wait, please just give it a minute. I promise it pays off. It all works out in the end for everybody.
Does it pay off, or is it just so randomly inserted at the end of the show? That's the thing with this series. I really enjoyed it, but the first half, or maybe even the first like 3/4 of it, feels kind of like filler episodes, and it feels like a different creative team, and it ends up being.
It is.
So those last 3 episodes or so really tee up what's going to be coming from season 2, but will you be able to get to that point? If you're just like a novice, I don't know what Daredevil is, I'm going to jump into this right now.
And it definitely felt like episode 5, where he goes to the bank and Kamala Khan's father is there. Definitely to me felt like Kevin Feige was like, hey, don't you forget, this is part of a cinematic universe.
Creative universe.
Do not ever forget. And they had to kind of shoehorn that in. But otherwise, like, everything feels pretty standalone from the rest of the universe.
I'm just happy there's Daredevil out there. I'm happy about that. I'm a
just
huge
grateful.
Daredevil fan. Read it as a kid. I'm older than both of you. And I remember when Frank Miller actually got a hold of Kingpin, who was a Spider-Man, like an embarrassing Spider-Man villain, and made him into this thing. And unpopular opinion, I've never really liked the way Vincent D'Onofrio did him. He always seems like hesitant and unsure of himself, and like
he's a big toddler.
mentally
He's
constipated.
a big toddler that can crush your head.
But Kingpin in at least Frank Miller's Daredevil iteration was always just ruthlessly efficient, and I don't know.
Would you go for the Ben Affleck Kingpin version versus Vincent D'Onofrio's version?
A little bit, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Fascinating.
But-
well, you know, I think it's still a see it for this. I'm happy it's back, much like you. And we have an exclusive interview with one of the cast members of Daredevil Born Again to give us a little hint of what's to come for season 2. Take a look. You're filming in season 2 right now. How has it been thus far? Have you done any scenes yet? Are you wrapping it? And how have the positive reactions been, seeing as you've been acting?
We're just in the first few episodes, and yeah, the positive reactions have been really helpful, because I actually, my personal first day of shooting was the day after the show as I was like thinking to go to work the next day, all I kept thinking was like, oh my God, if the reactions are not positive, it's going to be really hard to show up and work and like have people talk about whatever. So it's been so nice.
I want to talk about Heather. So as a therapist, she delves into the minds of all of these heroes and villains, but I am curious how she balances kind of protecting herself while trying to remain like unbiased to these big personalities and kind of megalomaniacs.
Season 1, I don't think Heather is doing a great job protecting herself or is not taking enough time for herself. She's such a heart in the sense that she really wants to help people and these people that she's dealing with particularly, and she's also in love and in this new relationship. So I think that all colors her experience a little bit and makes her forget a little bit that perhaps she needs to take some space and have some self-care.
You have a few scenes where you're in the room where there's this close quarter action scene happening. I'm curious because obviously there's a lot of stunt choreography going on with the fight in itself, but what about on your end? Is there like an actual choreographed movement that you have to follow along with?
Yeah, I mean, the whole scene had to be really choreographed ahead of time because there's so many technical aspects. Like now you're gonna run for the door, and then you're gonna wake up, then he's gonna have you tied up. And we really tried to not shoot it in pieces and shoot it as one continual sequence because that just added to the reality of the event. So once we got all those technical parts down, we were able to just shoot the scene as it was happening, and it was quite powerful and really terrifying.
What do you think is making Daredevil's Rogues Gallery so much more compelling compared to maybe some of the other superheroes we have in the Marvel universe?
This season especially, we're really, the show is so grounded and is exploring themes and ideas that I think feel very relevant and relatable, and I think delve into questions that people sometimes perhaps ask themselves. And the show is so nuanced and really lives in the gray and is not trying to like hammer anything in as like this is the way. It really poses a lot of questions, which to me I think is always really interesting and provides for interesting material to take in as an observer.
Well, I'm so excited for people to get to finish this. Is anything you want to give them as far as like what to prepare for going into season 2?
I'm so excited for season 2. We're so in it, but I feel like where the finale leaves us is really where season 2 takes off. That's like the spring off point, for the next season. And the finale is fantastic. It's so good. It's so good.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope that we haven't grown mushrooms in our time waiting to get that done from the interview. Yeah, spores.
Oh boy.
I'm spory for that. Let's jump into The Last of Us season 2.
He's
Rebecca.
a fun guy.
I don't want to do this anymore. The Last of Us season 2. The last time we saw our friends Joel and Ellie at the end of season 1, Joel rescued Ellie from a facility where they could possibly come up with a cure for the cordyceps. But in order to do that, she would have to die. And Joel made a selfish decision and took her and killed everybody in the hospital. And so the season 1 ends with her asking, if what he told her was true about how their cure wasn't going to work, and he did the best thing for her by taking her, and he says, this is true. And by the time season 2 premieres, this is true.
I may have committed light murder.
This is true. And by the time season 2 premieres, they have a very different relationship. It is obvious that she knows he lied, and their relationship is very strained, and she is not talking to him. He's trying very hard to rekindle their relationship, but things are obviously strained. And we also get an insight more into the town of Jackson, where they are living, and all of the other people who they have to interact with and live with in the town of Jackson.
Mm-hmm. You can already tell that the scale is a lot bigger for season 2. Season 1, of course, this is adapted from the video games. There's only 2 that are out right now, but this show has already been greenlit for a season 3, which is kind of fascinating to me.
So, which is very interesting because the second game ends very definitively. Like there's not really much room for anything to follow. And I kind of wish they would have announced that they are doing a season 3 later in season 2, because it kind of tells me what they are and are not going to do in season 2.
Maybe they're delaying stuff to pay off for season 3.
And there are some major character developments that happen in the second game, and so I'm sure they're trying to drag that out as long as possible.
Yeah. Well, this is only the first episode, so I don't know how long this season is going to be. But that's a good point. Maybe they've got a roadmap and a game plan for this. Hopefully, it's not just we're just going to do as many seasons as we can and run this into the ground, which can happen a lot. I think Pedro Pascal is great. Again, is he oversaturating everything? Yes. Am I okay with that? Yes.
That's fine. He's getting paid.
Bella
Let him get
Ramsey is
paid.
great in it too. I think she's a tremendous actress ever since Game of Thrones. But I don't know. There's not a lot to go off of so far, except for let's see where this story takes us.
Well, and if I'm taking clues from season 1, season 1 did this really fantastic job of enhancing character stories from within the game. Characters that are not even in the game, like Nick Offerman's character. He's barely in the game at all, but he has a whole episode dedicated to him.
Yep.
And so I think what they're doing with season 2 and season 3 is taking random characters throughout the game and really enhancing the overall world and the story, and showing you, how people besides Joel and Ellie are affected in this grand universe.
Richard, what do you think of these video game adaptations that are trying to do it by the book and like a serious drama rather than Minecraft, maybe?
Well, I haven't seen this, and now it's totally ruined for me. But
I can ruin it for you.
No, I don't mind people getting inspiration from wherever, a book, a game, or whatnot. But it has been notoriously difficult to craft a good story out of the game, at least back when they were taking games that didn't have any story, and just were asteroids, the movie.
Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, or whatever. But these games that are much more in depth and involved, and if they can expand on them in a way that satisfies the fans of the game, okay.
Well,
fine.
and you have Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, who created the games, both working together on the show.
Huge component to its success, I think.
Yeah, like there's an episode in season 1 where there's 2 characters, Sam and Henry, and the younger one, I think it's Sam, he's deaf. And in the video game, he's not deaf. And there's a podcast that accompanies the show, and in the interview between Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, Neil Druckmann tells Craig how pissed he was when Craig pitched that idea of making the younger brother deaf, because it was so good. And he was
misdirect.
furious, and he was furious he didn't come up with it first.
I love that that's
Yeah.
the first reaction is anger.
I wish I thought of that. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
But it's available on Max. It's airing every Sunday, so make sure that you follow along with us as we continue watching The Last of Us Season 2. But Richard, do you
Or
like
start
Cinderella?
watching it. Sorry, go ahead.
You stepped on my Cinderella joke.
It's like, do it again.
Do you like Cinderella?
Sure.
How about The Ugly Stepsister? Because that's the new version of Cinderella that Rebecca had a chance to see at Sundance.
Oh,
Boy. Well, that worked out well.
Woof. So, The Ugly Stepsister. It is it is a movie from a couple of different countries: Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Poland. And it tells the tale of Cinderella, but from the perspective of the ugly stepsister, which in itself a pretty simple premise, but executed so well. If you like body horror, if you like being grossed out, highly recommend.
okay.
The
This
Ugly
totally went
Stepsister.
someplace I would not have guessed. That's what you led with.
Well, no,
So,
Rebecca,
body
tell
horror.
him
How
what you were
about it?
telling me before we started.
So, at the premiere of this movie in Sundance, I heard through the crowd that somebody threw up during the movie.
That is a movie I want to see.
And I love a horror movie. I think I have a pretty high tolerance when it comes to gross stuff.
Okay.
This movie had me gagging.
So it's a see it.
It is.
Is to see it.
If you
Sometimes
if
it works
you-
out that way, where if you love body horror, that's kind of the barometer of this is good
Yeah.
body horror.
And if your gag reflex is not sensitive, I do recommend it, because
And now this is in theaters.
this is in theaters.
it's at the
yeah.
Broadway,
It's at the
yeah.
Broadway.
Ooh.
It
Yeah.
just came out today too.
You got time?
So Rebecca was the only one that saw it. We didn't get a chance.
I got
to.
time.
You got time. You got time. We can wrap it up fast.
It was I think the first movie I saw at Sundance this year.
The
And-
first one?
Yeah.
Great way to start.
It was just right
With
out
an
the
upset
gate.
stomach.
Nausea.
Yeah, so if I were to pair this movie with another movie, I would pair it with something like The Substance, because it is
Ooh,
very,
okay.
very body horror, very much follows a young girl's journey into the chase of perfection and beauty, and trying. it is, she's trying to win the affections of the prince, but there's the pursuit of beauty and doing whatever it takes in this given time period to achieve those goals.
The medieval sorts of things?
Kind of.
Mixed with a fairy tale.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a see it from you.
If you like horror and body horror,
If you like
gore,
that
kind of
if you
contingency.
like going to the movies thinking, I wish I could throw up during this movie,
If you're
Ugly
in-
Stepsister.
Aren't these interesting ones to review? Because you know that the majority of the audience probably aren't going to be okay with it, but it's your type of freaky. It's like
If you're into vomit,
Yeah, so
you're gonna
I think
vomit.
it's the more
Yeah.
people watch these things, the more they see what our tastes are, and they're like, okay, if they love this, I'm gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Or if they hate
There's
it, I'm
that.
gonna love it.
There's that.
Very interesting. Well, to wrap this up, let's talk about the new Apple TV Plus show, Government Cheese, that's out this week. It came out on Wednesday, I think. This is starring David Oyelowo, who is a man that just got out of prison. And he's trying to turn over a new leaf. He had a bit of a religious epiphany and decides that he's going to invent this drill, this screwdriver, that can sharpen it on its own. It's kind of like a pencil sharpener, but for a drill bit, so that they can always stay sharp and you don't have to replace it every time.
Okay.
He thinks this is going to save his family. But at the same time, some of the people from his past that maybe helped get him landed in prison at first are coming back. Maybe want him to do some not so nice things. Will he be able to do that? Will he be able to bring his family, who now have completely moved on since he's come back, almost a completely different family unit? Will he be able to bring both of those things together to save them with his brilliant invention?
or will they pull him back in?
This is a series?
This is a series. It's about 22 minutes an episode.
Oh.
And I have to say, I binged the whole thing in like 2 days.
Yeah,
It
you
was
can watch that in the
Very
bathroom.
easy. Very funny.
okay?
There's a lot of weird, like, fantastical elements where, like, it's a family sitcom, but every once in a while they'll go into, like, a religious experience or something, or it'll show some type of biblical metaphor, like a big whale or something. That's very interesting. We had a chance to talk with the cast of this, and they're going to give a little bit of a description of Government Cheese and the tricks to eye flirting. Let's take a look.
So, Government Cheese centers the Chambers family. My character, Hampton Chambers, and we have Astoria Chambers as well, played by Simone. And at the beginning of the first episode, I've been incarcerated for check fraud. And he has had this religious epiphany during his time of incarceration to invent a self-sharpening drill. This is going to be the means by which his family are going to have a better life. He comes out of prison, and they have moved on in many ways, spiritually, emotionally, and otherwise. And so, so much of the show is about him trying to work his way back into his family.
What was it like developing your character in regards to, like, researching Native American history and things like that?
I will say, as far as Harrison's relationship with the Chumash culture, I used Paul as my resource because that was a direct thing from his experience in his life, and just wanted to treat it with as much respect as possible while also acknowledging the sheer absurdity of it, that he's this kid from the valley, black kid who has no direct connection to that culture or those people at all, but is so fascinated and obsessed and actually thinks he is a part of it himself, just hoping people understood the comedy of it while also wanting to really talk about the rich history that Native Americans have in California, specifically in the Valley and in the surrounding areas.
How far into the process of building a pool did you actually get in the show?
Right though? Like, I know, when we were shooting it was a little confusing because I was like, where are we right now and how far in, did we do it yet? Or, I don't want to spoil too much, but we set up, I think, like maybe half of it and then I think it jumped to, now it's fully finished.
What is your favorite part about filming in period pieces like this?
When the set designer and the wardrobe people get on the same page as the actors and the directors, it really makes you feel like you're in another time. So it's kind of like walking in a time machine or something. And I love that aspect of working.
There's one scene in particular that just had me laughing, but also really impressed with your performances. And I need to know the tricks. How do you give good eye flirting? Like, what is the trick to it? How do I do that so that my wife doesn't look at me and is horrified?
Can I just say, David is such a tactician. When we shot that scene, I said, oh, there are extra levels to eye flirting. He did a thing. He did a smirk and a smize and a wink. I said, oh no, we're telling a full story. I think we shot that twice.
We did.
Because David said, we didn't capture the eyes. Like he knew exactly what needed to. So the fact that you picked that up, I'm going to give this man all the credit.
I love that you pointed it out because, it's really hard to have it be believable that a couple have been together for a long time. And so much of the communication is nonverbal. And so on the page, when I saw that, I thought this is a real opportunity to show how much history this couple have. So yeah, we shot it once and then I felt like we just hadn't exploited it enough. And the key to it basically is to think the thought and just believe that is being transmitted through your eyes. The eyes are the windows of the soul.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to give you a thank you, but only verbal through eyes, okay?
Oh, yeah. I got all of that.
You're
all
welcome.
of that.
You two are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're back, and we're eye flirting with you, the audience. I'm just blinking, actually. That's not working. That's about does it for this Theater Skip It. I had a lot of fun. Did you?
Yeah, it's a great week if you love horror.
There's so many good things. Sinners, #1, right? Everybody's.
Oh yeah.
You know what? It's the first A of the year for me.
I've only given out 2 5-star ratings this year, and Sinners is one of them.
Absolutely. Same for me as well. So make sure that you check out Sinners and let us know what you think once you've seen it. Follow us. First, Richard, where can they find you?
Fridays, I'm on 106.7, Rock 106.7 with Hooker and DB in the morning. I do stuff with you. Have my own channel, Roto-Wobo, at YouTube.
Can you spell that?
I'll tell you later. RODOWOBO.
Okay.
There you go. Well, Rebecca, your handle's a little bit easier.
Yeah, you can find me every week at Geek Show Podcast or Gross Rebecca on Twitter and Instagram.
Very cool.
Spelled you.
Ew.
And as always, check out abc4.com, go to the shows tab, and see it or skip it to check out all the other interviews and reviews. And of course, Good Things Utah every once in a while when we're on Friday Flicks. And with that said, thank you so much as always for watching, and we will see you at the next review.
And if you see them, let us know what you think. Let us know if you puke.
Or skip it. See it 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 or skip it.